Hi you guys, welcome back. So today we're going to pick back up on the Thornton Township board meeting that we left off talking about on my last video. Now I know there was another meeting held recently on August 20th and we'll touch on that one a little bit later, but for now we're going to pick up where we left off, and that's when Carmen called Tiffany out on her lying about the cancer charity. And for all you guys who don't know, out of Tiffany's own mouth, she said she created a charity called the Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation, but then later denied having anything to do with it.
And the first time I ever really questioned supporting this is when you went on this national platform and you said you didn't know anything about a foundation.
You also, you have a charity that from the Attorney General's office is, I understand they sent a cease and desist letter to your foundation?
I don't know nothing about that.
Tiffany Henyard Cares, your foundation?
I don't have a foundation. If someone uses my name to push their charity or
So
say my
you
name,
don't have a, you say you don't have a foundation?
I do not. And that's
Okay.
why I tell everybody, go do your research. I'm not on anything. Something else that I'm doing that I'm really, really big on that's dear to my heart is I'm real big on a cancer foundation. I have created Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation.
But you say you don't have a foundation?
I do not.
Stop. That's what I'm saying about your lies.
So you guys see the blatant hypocrisy in that, all right? Next, we're going to watch a segment of the meeting where the Board of Trustees wanted to approve an ordinance that would narrow down who is spending the money.
Next, is there a motion to approve an ordinance to regulate event expenditures and budget approvals? Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, and the motion second. Any discussion?
I'll just give the brief section 2 purpose. The purpose of this ordinance is to regulate the budgeting and expenditure process for events organized by Thornton Township, ensuring proper oversight, approval, and adherence to set financial limits.
How y'all come up with these numbers? I'm just saying, what's the limits? So I'm just trying to tell you it's a joke. What's the limits, y'all? Because y'all don't run day to day. Like I tell everybody, when you learn y'all position, y'all can understand how to move. So for y'all that don't know in the back, and for the fake news, what y'all don't know, they set the limits to $1,000. Yeah. Tell me what you mean. How you about singing food?
That's not what it said.
How you? Well, go ahead. Don't tell me what to say. I asked you. What's the limit? Go ahead.
This ordinance is for events
Yep.
in particular. That's what it's for.
Mm-hmm.
So to explain a little bit, this ordinance would basically put a cap on how much each department would spend each month on events. And they also wanted there to be only one credit card, and that credit card was to be given to the finance director, who is this guy right here, Robert Hunt. But of course, Tiffany is not okay with this ordinance, and neither is the finance director. So let's hear him explain why he's not okay with it.
I think
The limit's in here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Robert. What you got?
I guess if they could be more specific what they mean by events. Events, when I look at page 3, I just got this from me today. By Howard. Event, any organized activity, that is very broad. I would say that's actually.
Can you let her out? She's trying to get out.
I would actually say that's every activity in Thornton Township. Well, I would just ask, can you be broad? Narrow that down. A bus program. Do you entail, was your intention everything that Thornton Township does? You say anything that's an organized activity.
Well, we don't think
Our
that's
transportation program, our luncheon program, our days, that was that the purpose? That's what I want to make sure. Was that your intent? Because that's how.
Events.
No, it says any organized activity or gathering funding or sponsored by Thornton Township. That's how they described it. That's how I read it.
So
Was that your intention? Am I reading it wrong? Was that the true intention of what you're trying to do with it? And once you start putting these laws in place,
So I
you
think
go in and
you
say
guys.
that I have to audit it and make sure this is very. If you want to shut down township or just shut down all programs, this is any trustee can help me with, or the lawyer. Somebody can just kind of tell me.
We can make it more specific and narrow down for you.
Thank you.
Okay, so are you guys going to adjust and come back on Tuesday with adjustments, or what we doing?
I'm not sure. We'll figure it out though.
Well, we gotta figure out how, because it's up for vote, so.
I'll motion the table.
All right, is there a second for the motion? The motion is second. Call the roll.
So you guys, while I do see and I understand why the trustees were trying to pass this ordinance, because Tiffany Henyard goes overboard with her events, okay? And we know she's spending money. She's spending money for big bingo. She's spending money for these giveaways. She's buying flat screen TVs. She's buying golf clubs. She's allegedly buying all these things, okay? And I have to say that because like she says, and she wants everybody to know,
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. I do not handle that.
but at the same time, she loves to plaster her face over everything, over all the flyers, to bring the residents in where they then can participate and partake in all of these games and win all of these prizes. Well, one thing I would almost bet on is that the money being used to get all of these gifts and all these prizes are not coming out of Tiffany Henyard's pockets, okay? But the money's coming from somewhere, right? So that's what the trustees are trying to narrow down. They are trying to see what department is spending what on these events. And that's what this ordinance is about. So while I see the move the trustees were trying to make and trying to beat Tiffany at her own game, I'm just gonna say this. They need to do their homework before they come to these board meetings and try to pass these ordinances, okay? Because like Tiffany says, they're there to legislate. She's there to run her mouth. That's not what she said. Something like that. No, she says she's the executive branch and they're the legislative. And so they do what? They write ordinances and all that stuff and pass the laws.
I just wish that this board would actually do their job, and that is legislate and make laws and create different things for community. You know, my job is to govern. Just so people understand, my job as mayor, I govern the town. You legislate. I'm doing your job. I made an ordinance. Your job is to create this ordinance, not mine. But I did it because you're slacking on doing your jobs as trustees.
So even though that was a clip of Tiffany Henyard as the mayor talking to the trustees over in Dolton, she pretty much says the same thing in Thornton Township.
Like I tell everybody, when you learn your position, y'all understand how to move.
And you know what? The trustees should do their homework and they should have all the verbiage right within the ordinance, because if they had all their I's dotted and their T's crossed before they came to the meeting, they should be able to just lay it all out there and be like, hey, look, woman, this is the new ordinance. This is what's going to happen. They should be able to explain it to the residents and let that be it. And she can throw her tantrum all she wants, but as long as they have it in order and it is very specific to what they want, then they should be able to get it passed, because we know no matter how prepared they are, she's always going to have a comeback. She's always going to have her little smoke and mirror dance, but at least they will have it and they won't have to go back to the table. They won't have to go back to the drawing board and change it up like what just happened here. They should definitely come more prepared in order to beat Tiffany at her own game, because she has been in this whole politics thing for a long time. She's been a trustee for 8 years. So she's been up in this game for a while. She knows how it works, and she's been involved with writing ordinances before. So while she's obnoxious, while she's loud, while she's very disrespectful beyond measure, while she's all these things, they have to keep in mind that she is still knowledgeable. And she's knowledgeable of the inner workings of her local government. If she wasn't, she wouldn't have squeezed herself into the mayor's position over there in Dolton. And she wouldn't have just happened, okay, to be nominated as a supervisor in Thornton Township if she didn't have that long history of being in the government and making a name for herself, okay? Hence her putting her name on every single thing, billboards, flyers, you name it. The child would put her name on the street if she could, okay? I'm surprised she hasn't tried. I wonder if she tried to do that, if she's tried to make Tiffany Henyard Boulevard or something. I wouldn't doubt it, you guys. I just wouldn't doubt it. But yeah, let's move on, because I think I've expressed enough that the trustees, they really need to get it a little bit more together before they come to the meetings. So let's move on to this next clip. And this next clip once again has to do with another ordinance that the trustees are attempting to pass.
All right, next on the agenda is the motion to approve an ordinance to regulate retail/credit card/net 30 policy. Is there a motion? Motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Okay, guys, y'all don't want to put this agenda together, what y'all got?
Well, once again, I'll just read the purpose. The purpose of this ordinance is to establish guidelines and restrictions for use of retail, credit card, and net 30 accounts to ensure responsible and transparent financial management for Thornton Township.
Okay, anything else? That's another one that you guys should bring back up. Being discussed with Robert as it relates to day-to-day stuff. You guys might want to reach out to him. See, look, I said reach out to him. I didn't catch that. You should reach out and actually go over it before you guys try to implement something like this. So y'all want to table that as well and bring it back up on the 20th? No. You do know that's all the departments. Okay, fine. Departments, get up. Time to talk. Who want to go first? Come on, Marcia, we'll let you go first.
So this ordinance that the trustees are attempting to pass is going to affect the departments, because they're trying to take away the credit cards for the many different departments, and they want to assign one credit card to the finance director. Now, see, I feel like I'm a fairly reasonable person, and I do see how that can make it a little bit more complicated. If you only have one person in charge for getting all the departments the things they need, that could complicate things. But one thing that Trustee Carmen did mention is that the different departments, they don't send the trustees information on their monthly needs, okay? So with the trustees basically running blindly as to knowing what each department actually needs monthly to run their operation smoothly, it's kind of like, what are they supposed to do? So I think this is where this implementing these extreme ordinances come into play, because there's no structure there. So they all need to come together and they need to figure out the budgets for each department and who actually needs what, and then they can write the ordinance. But in order to do that, you need communication between the trustee and the department heads, right? And you need communication overall. But communication and Tiffany don't always go hand in hand, because while Tiffany is having the department heads talk about their needs now, and she's basically trying to shame the trustees for not talking to them before they wrote this ordinance, she's also instructing the trustees to talk to the director of the food pantry about finances, which makes absolutely no sense at all and just shows you the type of person we're dealing with. This actually segues us into this next clip. And here we see Tiffany stating over and over who she would like the trustees to direct their questions and concerns to as it relates to finances. Let's watch.
So again, we can't get information directly from the finance department because he's been directed not to provide us with information directly. And I have an email.
So let me make that crystal clear. At the last meeting, I told you guys that KP, Key Price, is the contact. So if you guys have questions, concerns, or want to sit down with anybody, that is your go-to person. So if you guys have questions, please talk to Key Price.
Again,
Price will answer any question that you have.
Finance director, so he can't answer finance. We have a finance director for that. If I ask finance questions, that should come from the finance director.
Trust me.
Not Key Price.
Okay. You should forward your questions to Key Price. Yeah. So if you got a question for him, then he will get the answer. Hold on. I'm telling you how it goes. It go like this anyway. So if you got a question again, for the record, since everybody out like it ain't crystal clear, reach out to Key Price to get your answers. If you have a question, reach out to Key Price. I don't know how many times I gotta say that.
So as we see, she's saying, reach out to Keith Price, very adamantly, over and over. So there you have it. She's made it clear on who they should reach out to. So this next clip will show us the constant hypocrisy and contradictory statements that Tiffany Henyard often makes. So we're going to watch as Trustee Jerry Jones talks to Tiffany about possibly tabling this ordinance, and then they discuss who to follow up with further discussion on possibly changing the ordinance.
5,000 is very, very, for a personal account, if it was me personally, but for a $20 million organization, that's two computers.
So with that being
they buy
said,
really nice, they buy computers that have to deal with our servers. Don't let a server go down. I mean, it's $5,000. It really is not.
all right, thank you. With that being said, in the event that this ordinance is tabled, who works with the board to make sure that it's put in force the way that it could be equitable for everybody, amicable, everybody has a meeting, everybody is, what is it called,
compromise and inclusive.
I mean, if I'm invited, yeah, I definitely be, I want to, because this is tough, and then you put, I'm responsible. I would like to have some input. When you definitely, a lot of these orders you put in here, I'm responsible, but no one even.
Finance director. That question, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have looked at you while I asked it. Should look at the supervisor. Who would be involved in that?
Robert said he's okay with it, I'm okay.
I just wanted to say that because I know that when there was a question about certain things that was asked of the finance director, it was said that they have to go through key price.
Yes, it's about structure and order. Robert said he's okay with it, I'm okay. So if you got a question again, for the record, since everybody out like it ain't crystal clear, reach out to Key Price to get your answers. If you have a question, reach out to Key Price. I don't know how many times I gotta say that. Robert said he's okay with it, I'm okay.
So, I think we can all agree that Tiffany Henyard sets the bar for structure and order, and she's the go-to person if you want a smooth-running, drama-free workplace and government body. If you say that mantra over and over, it might actually come true. No, it won't. It never will, okay? But the frightening thing is, I think Tiffany and some of the people who believe in her really believe that to be true. But you know what? The hypocrisy does not stop there. Let's move on to this next clip. And in this clip, we're going to see Tiffany referring to her days as a trustee and using her trustee experience to show the current trustees how they should behave. Let's watch.
Because I'll just give an example. Normally when people run, like you said, a $20 million, $50 million organization, it's one person they go to. It ain't you jump around to all of the departments. I was a trustee, to give you some leverage so you understand. I was trustee for 8 years in Dalton. We didn't do what y'all do. Jump to each department head. It didn't work that way. The way the mayor set it up, we went to one person. That person was Stan Irvin. Stan Irvin gave us whatever we looked for, so that they don't feel like people intimidating them or that, oh, you harassing us. This is what we was told, and we understood it. And we went to that one person, and that person gave us whatever we needed. So when I say that here, you are like, oh, I'm trying to stop y'all from getting information. It's just one central person that you get what you need from, and now you got your answers.
So you guys, I'm always doing the flashbacks and rewinding and refreshing people's memory about Tiffany as a trustee. But this time, she actually asked for this one. All right. So let's go ahead and go back in time as it relates. Okay. As it relates to Tiffany Henyard and her days as a trustee dealing with the department heads. Let's watch and see what she has to say.
For all department heads, when anybody on this board asks you for anything, I need you guys to deliver it. We shouldn't have to wait 2 weeks into another board meeting to ask you guys for something we asked 2 weeks ago. That is my issue. My trust is gone as it relates to Superintendent Matt Stacy. Anything he tells us is always an issue or a problem. And that's a problem for me because you're the department head. So when you tell us something, we vote on exactly what you guys say because you're the department head. So I need you guys to get that in order before you come across this board, any department head. End of my statement.
The problem is when the trustees come in and this village attorney has reminded the trustees that you cannot interfere with employees' day-to-day work.
I stopped in to Public Works to see Matt Stacy. Matt was not there on Friday. Emailed him, no response. Monday came, no response. Tuesday came, still no response. Because I think the next day after that, he emailed me and told me I had to refer to you for a tree list that I don't see why I have to talk to you for if I'm talking directly to the department head. We are all elected officials. We all have the same power, and anybody should be able to ask any department head for things that they need.
It's one person they go to. It ain't you jump around to all of the departments.
And it's been a constant problem. Some of the employees have told me that they fear, since you've taken authority from me to hire and fire, they fear being fired by the trustees if they don't give them the information.
I said, you know what? I'm going to go up there myself and find out where you was on this list. When I went up there, the ladies could not provide me with a list. They then told me that they need to call their boss, which is Matt. I said, call him. I even called him. Matt did not pick up for me or them. I emailed Matt to basically rectify this situation, and again, no response. And then I guess 2-3 days later, after he talked to you, you guys sent me an email stating I need to talk to the mayor. And then in my response was, I'm not going to play these games with y'all. I want my tree list.
We didn't do what y'all do. Jump to each department head. It didn't work that way. The way the mayor set it up, we went to one person. That person was staying early.
But you come in during the day when they're doing work and you expect them to stop what they're doing and provide you with all kind of information. It's time consuming for them and it's not fair to them.
We have public works. We have a superintendent / manager, whatever he is now. He's supposed to do his job. When they call there, he's supposed to sit here and come out, assess the situation, and cut the tree down. You don't supposed to get in the middle of their duties. That's his job.
So when I say that here, you act like, oh, I'm trying to stop y'all from getting information. It's just one central person that you get what you need from, and now you got your answers.
So, the blatant hypocrisy from Tiffany Henyard during this one meeting is almost enough to last us a lifetime, right? So how are the trustees supposed to trust anything that comes out of her mouth? And how does she call herself a leader when she can't lead them on a straight path when they have questions? So I know I talk a lot about hypocrisy, right? But hypocrisy, I feel, is one of those words that people don't realize the full impact of. And I will say this, we could probably all be accused of hypocrisy at some points in our lives. Whether it's on purpose or not is up for debate. Because the people we were as children, adolescents, young adults are probably really different than who we are now. Okay, so the way we talk, the way we walk, the way we dress, our beliefs, all of those things have probably changed, if not a lot, maybe a little bit, due to, us just maturing, getting older, gaining responsibility, changing environments, a number of things, you guys. A lot of stuff has changed, and then we could be called a hypocrite ourselves from how we used to act as a child, young adult, so on and so forth. The difference is in those natural occurring hypocrisies, that's what I'm going to call it. I don't know if that's actually a thing, you guys let me know. But the difference in the natural occurring hypocrisies in life and the difference in Tiffany Henyard's hypocrisies is that she is a person who is in a leadership position. And when you get people who are in leadership positions whose main characteristic is hypocrisy, that is a bad combination and can be very detrimental to them and everyone else around them. Because while a hypocritical leader is bad in itself, the fruits of that hypocritical leader could be way worse. Because to me, there's nothing worse than followers of that leader who will follow blindly and do whatever is asked of them. And you guys, I don't mean to be so dramatic about it, but that's how you end up with situations like Jonestown. And you guys, if you don't know about it, look it up. It was an old cult. And it was just very tragic what happened. But no, I'm not saying Tiffany Henyard is a cult leader. Just put that disclaimer in there, okay? Because YouTube be crazy, okay? And people be crazy. But no, I'm not saying that. I'm just using that as an example as to why hypocrisy can be so dangerous, especially when it's a main trait of someone who is in an influential position. Okay? So you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end it right here. Once again, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to leave it a like. And if you're new here, subscribe.
We are all elected officials. We all have the same power. And anybody should be able to ask any department head for things that they need.
There's one person they go to. It ain't you jump around to all the departments. Stop. That's what I'm saying about your lives.